In 1968, RAW was established. RAW, about RAW, I think everyone knows about it. It's an intelligence agency of India. But before RAW, there was IB, Intelligence Bureau. And because of the IB's failure, three failures were there, which pressurized Indian elite, Indian politicians to look for, a superior intelligence agency. The first incident was 1962, encroachment of China, which they could not, predict. Secondly, Pakistan's role in Indian held Kashmir through Operation Gibraltar, in which Pakistan tried to create uprising in India, Indian held Kashmir, and they could not, predict it. And third was China became a nuclear weapon state in 1964, and that information, that development was also not there with the Indian intelligence agencies. So because of these three failures, India decided to establish another intelligence agency for external operations. And they established RAW in 1968. And ultimately, the, the first chief of RAW was Rameshwar Nath Kao. And he was very powerful, very, you can say, influential chief. He was previously director of IB as well. And when he assumed the power as a director of, as a chief of RAW, he decided to go for two operations mainly. The first operation was that they are going to strengthen their capability for the collection of information, intelligence about Pakistan and China. And second was covert operations in East Pakistan. And this was the ultimate goal. And the idea was to dismember Pakistan, because Pakistan was the only country in the subcontinent which was challenging the Indian hegemony. And because of Pakistan's role in Kashmir and Khalistan, so Pakistan was not in good books of the Indians. So automatically, it was a good chance for the India in 1971 to utilize Pakistan's geographical vulnerability, socio-economic vulnerability, and political instability, which was there in East Pakistan. So India then created large-scale political destabilization with the support of, they supported Mukti Bahini, the refugees, which were about 1 million refugees who were there in India. And India from there used its propaganda and all these, psychological warfare things, which, resulted in the dismemberment of Pakistan. So RAW had five major roles in East Pakistan after 71, during 71 actually. The first was provision of intelligence to the policymakers and armed forces. So they were there in East Pakistan just to grab more and more information from the local population, from their assets on ground, because they were sharing border with East Pakistan, and that border was, huge, more than 4,000 kilometers. Secondly, to train the Bengali freedom fighters in clandestine training camps in India. So Mukti Bahini was a terrorist organization which was there in East Pakistan, and they were trained by the Indian RAW and military, and that was their second major goal in East Pakistan. Third was to organize a psychological warfare. Now, what is a psychological warfare? Psychological warfare is such. Now, in modern time, it has become very powerful. This is also called fifth generation warfare. But psychological warfare at that time was, if 10 Bengalis are killed, you will show to the world that 1,000 are killed. If 10 women are raped, you are going to show to the world there are 1,000 rapes in East Pakistan. You are going to try to, demoralize the Pakistani population. You are going to demoralize the Pakistani military through, different set of, operations and psychological warfare operations and others. They also try to, use the population, East Pakistani population, Bengali population, against Pakistan. And number four was to mount special operation against the sanctuaries and training camps of Naga and Mizo hostiles. Now, these were the militant groups who were operating in east side of India, and India wanted to get rid of these groups as well. And it was a golden opportunity for India, because in East Pakistan the Indians were previously not welcomed, but after and during the 71 political instability, that was the golden moment for them. So they could go there and get rid of these militant groups who were undermining the Indian internal security. And the fifth was to network with Bengali public servants from East Pakistan posted in West Pakistan. And these servants were, military, officers, bureaucracy officer, bureaucrats, and many other people who were there in the institutions in West Pakistan, and they could provide intelligence actually. So this was the five-pronged strategy of RAW for East Pakistan. And to achieve this strategy, India had a backing of about 800,000 troops. And of course, the Mukti Bahini had a about, force of about 150 to 180,000. And Mujib Bahini, which was another terrorist offshoot of Mujibur Rahman, who was the leader in Awami League leader in East Pakistan. So collectively, they had a huge force. And um, against Pakistan, Pakistan had a force of about 90,000. And out of those 90,000, the hardcore military which could fight was about 40,000 to 50,000. And if you analyze 800,000 plus, about 1 million force of the enemy was, and on the other side, the Pakistani military was only 50 or 60,000 for fighting. So it was not a, you can say a match. So automatically, which resulted in the, you can say, surrender of Pakistan. Secondly, you need to understand that there was a huge distance. Pakistan, West Pakistan and East Pakistan had in between India of about 1,500-kilometer border. You can say a hostile country. Secondly, they had no air route because India blocked the air route as well. And the maritime route, it was about 5,500 kilometer long, and it was not feasible for Pakistani Navy to help the Pakistani Navy or Pakistani Pakistani military in that particular area. So basically, it was a natural, you can say, defeat and very awkward situation for Pakistani military. There was not at all any chance of winning this war. Okay, now you will realize that at that time, Pakistan was in front with the United States of America, and of course, China was also a nuclear weapon state, and why these countries did not help Pakistan. So understand one thing, this is international relations. In international relations, countries have to rely on their own defense. No country would try to undermine their own security. India and Russia, they had a peace treaty in 1970, and that peace treaty barred, disallowed America and China from any active role in these hostilities in 1971. Although China vetoed the Indian, you can say, backed and the Bengali, independence resolutions in the United Nations Security Council, but that was not enough. We needed a strong support by the Chinese and the Americans at that time, but which we could not get. And ultimately, our country was dismembered because of the internal subversion, because of the internal political discontent, because of the poor, you can say, civil military, leadership. General Yahya Khan was one of the worst leader of Pakistan. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was very charismatic personality, but at the same time, when it comes to power, you become mad, and he proved that. He should have given the majority vote and respected the majority vote of Awami League and given the Mujibur Rahman a chance to lead the country, but he did not allow that. Thirdly, Mujibur Rahman also played in the hands of the Indians. He was supported by the Indians. He got all sorts of support by the Indians, so which resulted in the chaos. And fourthly, if India had not involved in Pakistan, East Pakistan, I think things would have not been that worse. Now, after 1971, there were different reports, and especially the most credible report was Hamid Rahman Commission report. According to the Hamid Rahman Commission report, there were widespread human rights violations, not only by Pakistan military, but also by the Mukti Bahini and Awami League and India. So all these actors collectively, they played a very, very dirty role in the East Pakistan debacle. According to Hamid Rahman Commission report, these are the extract from the Hamid Rahman Commission report. It must also be remembered that even after the military action of 25th of March 1971, Indian infiltrators, raw intelligence, army, and members of the Mukti Bahini, and they were the militants trained by the Indians, they were Bengalis, and they were trained by them, sponsored by the Awami League, continued to indulge in killing, rape, and arson during their raids on peaceful villages in East Pakistan. It was written in the Rahman Commission report. You can read it. It is available online. Not only in order to cause panic and disruption and carry out their plans of subversion, but also to punish those East Pakistanis who were not willing to go along with them. Like, for example, Biharis, many Bengalis, many other people who never wanted a separate homeland, but they wanted to live under the Pakistani flag. Many Bengalis were there, but they targeted all those people and created mayhem in East Pakistan. Any estimate of extent of atrocities alleged to have been committed on the East Pakistani people, the death and destruction caused by the Awami League militants throughout this period, and the atrocities committed by them on their own brothers and sisters must therefore be always be kept in view. So Pakistani military, they were also involved. Pakistani Mujibur Rahman, his Awami League and his Awami Bahini, that was involved in the violence. Mukti Bahini, backed by the Awami League and India, they were involved in the violence. Indian infiltrators, they were involved in the violence under the garb of Mukti Bahini. So all these people, they played their dirty role in that particular area. There was huge propaganda also, which I told you before. According to the falsity of the Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's repeated allegations that Pakistani troops had raped about 200,000 Bengali girls in 1971. He claimed that Pakistani forces raped about 200,000 girls. But after the investigation, when the abortion team he had commissioned from Britain in early 1972 found that its workload involved in the termination of only 100 or more pregnancies, which means that the lies were also there, and it is part of the Hindutuva Commission report. There is another book written by Sharmila Bose, who is also Bengali, and she wrote a book, Dead Reckoning, in which she says that the allegations of genocide and rape by the Pakistani army were exaggerated by the Bangladesh and India. She's right to some extent, but we cannot just give a clean sheet to Pakistani military. General Tika Khan, Niazi, AK Niazi, along with many other senior leaders of senior officers of the Pakistan army, they were involved in brutalities. They were involved in killing of many hundreds and thousands of Bengalis. So it was part of their military strategy, and it should have not taken place. But if they killed 100, the Indians and the Bengali Awami League, they projected in the world that Pakistan killed 1 million Bengalis, which was wrong. So there was a total mess in East Pakistan, and that mess created by India, Mujibur Rahman, Mukti Bahini, of course, Pakistani Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, and Yahya Khan. So all these four actors were involved in the mess. Okay, now Indira Gandhi after 71 claimed that we have drowned the two-nation theory in the Bay of Bengal, which means that two-nation theory is dead. Bangladesh became a new country, a separate homeland, and now the two-nation theory is dead. It's gone. No, she's wrong. She's wrong in her assertion. The idea of two-nation theory was to have two nations with separate homelands. So Bangladesh became a separate Muslim country. It never was part of India. So if it would have become part of India, then we could say that, oh, two-nation theory is gone. But it is wrong. Bangladesh is a Muslim country. It is a separate country, and Pakistan on the other side has also survived, and it is also there. And Alhamdulillah, it would be there forever, inshallah ta'ala, in coming years. So the idea of two-nation theory is separate Muslim countries, and from the Hindu dominance, they are living even today in the world, in South Asia. Pakistan has survived after 1971. There was a rebirth of Pakistan. and the partition of actually subcontinent was not up to mark, because the East Pakistan was having a 1500 kilometer in between an enemy state like India, and it was separated by West Pakistan. So basically, it was actually the 1946 cabinet mission plan, in which they decided that there must be three nations, like Bengal, a Muslim majority Bengal, Hindu majority India in between, and Muslim majority Pakistan, with four provinces which are today. But after 71, it again became, it went back to the same situation of 1946, the cabinet mission plan, and Bangladesh became a separate homeland, and Pakistan became a separate country. So Pakistan today, after 71, Pakistan re-established itself, reorganized itself. It became a nuclear weapon state. It established its military base. It reorganized its military, and ultimately, Alhamdulillah, today Pakistan is there in the subcontinent. You are the only Muslim country with nuclear weapons. You are the most strongest and powerful country in the Muslim world with nuclear weapons. And now, after the induction of nuclear weapons, your two nation theory, your sovereignty, your territorial integrity is intact, and it would remain intact, inshallah ta'ala. And no country and no power in the world, as Qaid Azam said, can undo Pakistan, inshallah, and Pakistan would remain there on the map of earth jab tak duniya rahegi, inshallah ta'ala. Thank you very much, guys. If you got any question, any query related to this, please you can ask now.